Hey,
Hey, you.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy 2024.
Yay! Kicking 23 in the balls.
Well, I'm telling you, so far, it has been a wild ride, and we're only 11 days in.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's 111.
Woohoo! 111.
It's 111.
Yeah, I think it's great. We, start a new year. I have a feeling the old Leanne is the same as the new Leanne, but you know what? We are doing our things.
Yeah, we are.
New commitments for the new year in front of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. We've just doubling down on all the good stuff, leaving all the bad crap behind, and more of the same. Hi, Tina.
Yep. Hi, Sarah, and hi, Joe.
I'm wearing one of Tina's favorite tops. Tina loves this top. Every time she sees the sleeves on the live, she's like, I love that top. So I'm wearing one of her favorites. Right. But it's blue and it's Thursday.
Yes.
So yes, so we've got our blue.
I'm wearing things that remind me of victory, success. So I have my beautiful Yule gift from Sandra, which is Nike and victory.
Victory,
and I have my Jupiter on, and nothing's going to stop me or bring me down.
I love it. That's right. That's right. Girl, you go, girl. So yes, I'm gonna swing over to see all the comments. Oh yes, good morning, everybody. So one thing that we are doing in 2024 is going to England.
Yes, we are.
Very exciting. So I'm excited about that. Other things for 2024, more classes. So more, getting out there more education for people. I've got, the sanctuary up and running in downtown Salem. I'm loving it. It is just phenomenal. Everybody that comes in just loves the vibes. And so that's fantastic. You're just doing more of the same with Pentagram and Zodiac.
We have a ton of new authors coming to Pentagram to present. Coby is one of them, our wonderful guest today. And this Friday, as soon as this Friday, I hear that the Mary Lau and the Bafana are going to be leaving Pentagram and visiting other businesses and demanding answers to riddles, rhymes for cocktails.
That's tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow. And I don't know, to toss up who's going to be the Bafana. Is it me or is it Tim? Let's see. He does not want to do it.
Oh my God. Okay.
I know. It's everyone's dream. Tim in a dress.
Oh my God. The TikTok world
is going to be, it won't be able to handle it. The amazingness. Okay. So we have some really cool events. Pentagram After Dark is going to be presenting The Last Unicorn in February. And we have some really exciting things that are going to come up around the 10th of February for Salem So Sweet. So
I'm going to have classes. I'm going to have classes that weekend.
Yeah.
So there will be classes at the sanctuary that weekend. Definitely the crystals class and probably another class as well. So I'm going to be, I will be putting that stuff live on Gallows Hill Witchery. So if you're not already on the Gallows Hill Witchery Facebook page, if you're not on, if you don't go to gallowshillwitchery.com and sign up as a member of the Crystal Coven, you're going to miss out. So you don't want to do that. So you definitely want to go and sign up. And that way, I promise I do not spam people. I rarely ever put out an email, but that's a good way to keep up to date on things that are happening at the cool places of Salem. So
absolutely.
Excellent. So I'm super excited. What is the card? First of all, what's the card? Get laid on me, girl. Lay it on me.
All right, get ready. It's a misunderstood card, so you might know which one it is.
Oh, Lord.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
He's back, and and he's causing trouble, and he's confusing everyone's shit. The most misunderstood card. It is, this is the Capricorn card. And every Capricorn that I love in my life goes, why am I the devil? I'm so nice. Well, there's your problem right there. Because
can I just say that it's hilarious to me right now, looking at this card and looking at the hand, the raised hand,
of course,
because it looks like it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
It is. I love you, Capricorns. Do not be sad. We understand that you're misunderstood here. Okay. And I can see that the devil is associated here with temptation and sexuality. But let's look at Capricorns. They're always striving to do better, to do more. What is the best? And you're sometimes very rarely satisfied with the gifts or the good things that you have. Okay. Capricorns are often in danger, or like warning. Sometimes you guys can be a little manipulative. So could sometimes be somebody a little manipulative and using others to like climb their way to the top.
No.
Their motto, believe it or not, is I use. Shocking. My son's a Capricorn and I love him to death. And I sent him a video about Capricorns that maybe this lovely lady on the other line here, revealed and sent to me a TikTok. And he was like, do you really see me like that? I'm like, the fact that you're obsessed and upset, damn straight I see you like that. You're a pain in my ass. So Capricorns are much like the card, very, very, very misunderstood. So when you get this card in a reading, or if you want to look at it and meditate on it, the devil card is often about feeling trapped or stuck. And maybe that's the way we're all feeling at the beginning of the year. I sure as hell felt that way during the snowstorm that kind of got us all stuck at home. So Capricorns are also very conservative, and they're ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of like limitations, structure. But even though, let's look at the card, even though there are chains there, they are kind of loose. So they give you enough room to strangle yourself with. So Capricorn, this is a time, especially with the weather and it's being winter. Listen, your options may be limited. You may have to take the best choice possible. And even though you're chained and you're stuck in a certain way, there's always an opportunity of freedom. You're not necessarily stuck forever in one situation. You can grow. You don't have to feel restricted. But you know what? Right now, I don't know about you, I kind of feel, due to the weather, financial stuff after the holidays, I am feeling like I don't have a lot of freedom. I can't just go out. I have to make better choices, right down from everything from my wallet to my diet. So it makes the devil, the devil is in the details. So I am recording what I eat. I am taking a minute to look over my finances with a fine-tooth comb. And you know what? It's going to serve me, because in that moment of being conservative and restricting, I will have freedom. And so will you. Yay.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And that's the way that I've been looking at some of the changes that I've made myself. I was never one to do a budget, like to actually have a running document that I was working off of to look at my finances. My husband got me into it, because that's how he operates. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to just try this on for size. I started it midway through 2023. I can't tell you how happy it makes me. I would have never, it took me this long in my life to find the quote unquote freedom in the, it's not, I don't want to say restriction, I want to say structure. And so having a structured outlook about finances brought them, so I am the one holding the chains. I am bringing them under control. Think the strength card where she's got the mouth of the lion. Mm-hmm. I'm in control of that. And so it no longer controls me. I control it. And that's the shift. And I did the same thing with my, with my dietary intake, as it were, which is how I'm dropping weight. And it is, Joe, you're right. It's a discipline. And we sometimes rail against discipline, especially my ADD, and my ADHD buddies. If you're out there, neurospicy people, that it can be very difficult. You want to be a free spirit. You forget that sometimes having all the choices can make you overwhelmed. And so you should lean into structure in the areas of life that are spinning out of control. Lean into the structure. We think of it as the devil. It's a perfect analogy that you just set up, Leanne. It really is, because we can think of it as something we hate, but then when it serves us, we're like, this is actually great. So that is the best advice that you could have given everybody as we're going into 2024. That is the best advice. That is the best card you could have pulled.
I didn't like it.
It's why Capricorn leads us off, and my Mars is in Capricorn. So things that have to do with that, things that I'm battling, when I'm battling, where your Mars is, take a look at where your Mars is. And that's your key to the things that you struggle. That's, if you're in the struggle, take a look at where your Mars is, because that's your warrior. And that, I'm sure Tim's going to bear me out on this when he pops in, but that's where you should lean into that energy. Lean in to that energy. Your Mars is in Cancer too. Oh, girl. But you got that nice shell.
It is. It gives me a shell. It gives me a shell, and I also can make people have feelings, can't I? I can make people who don't want to have feelings will have feelings.
You pinch.
I pinch. They don't like the pinch.
Right? Some people can't handle the pinch.
You can't handle my pinch.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I also want to get into the crystals, because we're looking at 2024 as a new year. It is a mundane new year after all. A lot of people are making changes, especially looking for things to grow. So if we're looking to grow things, because yes, we're looking to, we're always looking to quit things or throw things away in the new year, but we also are looking for things to grow. So we want to lean into, and because we have an herbalist on our show today, I thought to myself, what better time to talk about all the crystals that support growth, that have, in many cases, plant life inside of them, or perhaps that even used to be plants. And so I wanted to talk to you guys. First thing that comes to mind is garden quartz. So garden quartz has a little bit of life. When you look into it, it looks like a little part of the world kind of just got trapped into it. So garden quartz, for people that really connect with plants and herbs and stuff like that, and if you're looking to connect more with that energy, garden quartz is going to be one of your best friends. Quartz crystal can be charged for any purpose. You can give it a job and it will do it. And the plant spirit inside of that garden quartz is going to be an ally as well. And so when you're striving for goals in 2024, think about wearing or carrying a garden quartz, okay? And get your good stuff growing. Speaking of growing things, my plants, and you can ask the people that come to my house, this is with my plants in my kitchen, The majority of my plants are like all in kind of in the same area because that's like some of the best kind of growing light in my house. And this Kambaba lives with my plants and they adore it. Kambaba jasper, plants love Kambaba jasper. And this connects city witches like myself to the deep woods, to the forest, to that beautiful natural energy. I mean, I do have Gallows Hill Woods right outside my house, a little patch of it, but this connects us to sort of nature. So if you're a city witch, get some Kambaba jasper. Also, moss agate and tree agate. Literally, you can see like the plant life. This has red. This is red and green, both moss agate. You can, and this actually is also druzy. So you can see that actually is plant life in the crystal, right? So plant life right there inside the crystal. The other, and this is another really good example of when you can see it. You can see the fossilized plant life. Another great example, and this is one of my favorite pieces of dendritic that I own. This is from my private collection. This is dendritic. You can see the plants right inside. This is a dendritic agate. See how you can see the plant life right inside. So sometimes crystals contain plant life. Also, let's face it, amber, not only does it sometimes have little bugs in it, but it oftentimes will have plant matter in it. It's actually more common to see the plant matter than it is to see the bugs. And I would be absolutely remiss to not mention petrified wood. So this used to be a tree, you know, do you want to talk about plant life? This used to be plant life. This is petrified wood. This is trees that have been on the planet so long, they've transformed from a living, breathing tree into rocks and crystals, okay? It's become stone. And that has a little awesome little druzy. So what some of these things link us to the earth in the now. Petrified wood links us to the past. So when you're dealing with ancestral work, you're doing ancestral healing work, you're moving forward in 2024 and trying to leave behind some of these, you know, wounds, reach for petrified wood. So growing things, you're looking to grow things, especially financial things. And the green, all of these green stones are heart chakra stones. So healing your heart, healing your emotions, you know, compassion, having more compassion. We need that in this world. So those are definitely the crystals that I would recommend now that we have turned the wheel into 2024. Those are the crystals I would highly, highly, highly recommend.
Fantastic.
Right?
That's fantastic.
Technically, amber is plant matter, right?
Yes, it is. Yes,
it's
it is.
Really super hardened plant matter.
I just mean, were all of those crystals in that beautiful amber with the wool, that was all part of your private collection?
So this bracelet has been, I got this bracelet when I was in New Mexico. I was 25, right? 25 when I lived there. That's how long I've had this bracelet.
That is insane.
Trader Barb was her name. I actually think she's passed. She used to come to the Topsfield Fair every year. She no longer does. I don't know if she's still on this plane of existence or if she's moved on. But this was a piece I bought from her when I was about 25 years old.
Holy moly.
And I still have it. That's how long Wolf has been an important ally of mine. it was always there with me. Dragon, wolf, and bat have been with me since I was a child. Wolf has walked alongside me the whole entire time. So, yes. Yeah. So that's in my private collection. The Kambaba is as well in the moon. That tower is available. Ooh, I'm like going the wrong way.
Nice.
The tower's got a sticker on it.
Very nice.
But the other pieces that I showed, they're all from my private collection.
Okay.
But I do have pieces available at Gallows Hill Witchery in all of these stones. And I have amber jewelry coming in, not for tonight's live, but for the 2 weeks from now, from the 2 weeks from tonight. I have a collection of amber pendants and I think I have earrings. I have a collection coming in that I'm really excited to share with people. So
very excited.
Tune in 2 weeks from tonight. Tune in tonight because I've got amazing stuff tonight. But 2 weeks from tonight, amber, yes.
Excellent. Yeah. Good. Oh,
Tim Soaring Wolf enters the chat.
Speaking of wolves, I love that bracelet. I was
like, what?
That was really nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, that is my birth animal totem, but unicorn, I saw that piece and that was amazing too. That's one of my mythical totems that I have actually. So they're all over. My animals are coming out today.
Here, I have one like this at the shop.
Oh, I'm going to have
This is mine, but I have one like it at the shop.
And I need to reach out to you about some other crystals. But moving on to astrology, Happy New Year, Happy New Moon in Capricorn. Yeah. It's a leap year this year. It's the year of the dragon. So a powerful year coming up in the Chinese New Year. But yes, I love what you talked about, Leanne, with the devil card being misunderstood. Capricorn's ruler is Saturn. So the ruler of this new moon is Saturn in Pisces. And, you know, in old astrology, Saturn was like the devil and Jupiter was God. So it was like that's old astrology. But yeah, that's how Saturn is also misunderstood when it comes to those limitations, restrictions. And Saturn in Pisces means that this year is really going to be a lot about how we are impacting the world as a whole. Maybe how are we reaching humanity? How are we reaching out to others? But I love that we have a herbalist today tapping into that earth element of Capricorn, of course. And I'm not sure if Lou had a chance to pull up the new moon picture, but there it is. Great. Thank you, Lou. He's on top of that. So here we have the chart for today's new moon, just to kind of take a peek at it. And I mentioned Saturn and Pisces being kind of the ruler of the day, since Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And we see that Saturn is making some really positive aspects to Jupiter and to Mars. So this new moon is, again, landing on 111. Couldn't be a better date. It's all about new beginnings. You know, we've got the retrogrades in the past. Mercury still causing a little bit of fogginess with squaring Neptune, but we're coming out of that. So as the month proceeds, we're going to have even more clarity. But definitely this is a day, specifically this day, if you haven't done it already, to focus on goals. You've been touching on it, Sandra, Leanne, you guys have been talking all about goals. I love it. That's what we should need to be doing today. Even if you don't have time to write them down or do a vision board, talk about them, think about them, meditate on them. I, for the first time, did a vision board. Yes, last night, me and my wife, it was a really fun project. And I was just like, cool. Now I've got a visual thing I can focus on for the things I want to manifest this upcoming year. But yes, manifest today. Of course, the other major players, we've got Jupiter in Taurus. So 2024, so lucky major players are going to be Taurus and Gemini. The other major players, cardinal signs, we've got the nodes in Libra and Aries. So cardinal signs, this is your year to basically be tested, kind of being pushed out of your comfort zone, to grow, to move up and evolve. And this new moon, again, is also very important because this is the midway point of the eclipses. We got the eclipses in Libra, and then we've got the upcoming eclipse season in Aries, which is supposed to be a very fiery Aries season. So this new moon, the foundation that we set, is really going to get us through that turbulent time of April that is coming later. But other major players, we've got the fixed signs. Uranus is still in Taurus, and Jupiter is going to be conjuncting Uranus. So for fixed signs, the major thing happening with your energy this year is going to be all about surprises. And of course, surprises can be good or bad, but it's all about liberating, breaking free. Yes.
Remind everybody who the fixed signs are.
Yes.
Some
Thank
people
you.
might not realize who they are.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, cardinal signs was Capricorn, Libra, Taurus. I'm sorry, Capricorn, Libra, Aries, and Cancer. And then the fixed signs, the one that's going to be experiencing surprises, because we got that Uranus, Jupiter energy in the fixed signs. That's going to be Taurus primarily, but also Scorpio, Aquarius, and then Leo. So those are kind of like the major players for 2024.
Gotcha.
Of course, we've got a lot of really positive things happening with this Earth energy and today, and then just moving into, like I said, just really focusing on what you want to see happen this year. In the Chinese culture, this is the year where most children are born. A lot of parents purposely have children this year, the year of the dragon, because to be a lucky year, powerful year, and all of that stuff.
So, baby.
Yep, Sagittarius, Capricorn, you're Sagittarius rising, Leanne. So this is your house of money, all about money. We talked about that. Your Pisces rising, Sandra, is all about the 11th house, friendship, working independently, but also reaching out, making yourself be seen, be heard. I have a Cancer rising, so Cancer is all about relationships and establishing those connections. Once again, I definitely was in my reflection period during Mercury retrograde, and I am now coming out. Especially today, moving forward. So we got a lot to focus on today. Specifically, again, even if you don't have time to write them down, just spend some time focusing or thinking about the goals you want to have and just your thoughts in general. Being that this is a time of new beginnings, really focus on having positive thoughts and the things you want to manifest throughout the year. Try to imagine if the whole year was combined in one day. Try to do the whole day what you want to see in the whole year. So with that,
one last thing I wanted to say is, if you can't do a vision board and you don't have the supplies to be cutting things and putting them together and everything, Pinterest, create a Pinterest board for 2024, because you can create your own little folders or boards or whatever on there, and do some searches on the keywords that come to your mind when you think about the kind of year you want to have, and drag some inspiration photos into that vision board, and you can work on it and zhuzh it through the year. And that can be your place where you can, check in, because Lord knows we're always tethered to technology these days. You can check into that Pinterest and see, what am I doing? Am I doing things that bring me closer to these goals, or am I not putting enough effort to bring me closer to these goals? And, that can help shape that, those intentions to be able, if you're a visual person, things like that can really, really help you, especially, you said, if you don't have time to just write it all out, just sometimes images. Sometimes people are better at keying into certain imagery than they are to writing, mantras or things like that. I myself, I'm definitely a mantra person, but I'm also a visual person. So I appreciate things like that. So I have some wardrobe inspo boards, and I have different other visual things on Pinterest. I don't know. We're not sponsored by Pinterest or anything, guys, but I just needed to say that that's a pretty decent way to do a vision board without having to actually do a vision board. But anyways, thank you so much, Tim, for that.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this year, again, being a powerful year. This is Saturn rewards hard work. So it's all about a very positive karmic energy of, if you do the work, you're going to get the rewards. So do the work today, just to goal set and plan. And always a pleasure, ladies. Thank you for having me, and stay blessed.
Wonderful to talk to you.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. That was great.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I love it. And I am so ready for our guest.
Yes.
Let's talk to Coby Michael.
Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
Excellent. Excellent. Leanne, you were gonna suggest an herb, were you not?
Yes, I was.
Now that we have Coby here, what was the herb that you pulled?
Well, it was one of my favorites because you can sing to it, and it's time is on your side. It is my favorite. It's one of my favorites. For me, I love it because thyme is great in incenses when you use it for purification, protection, cleansing, healing. It'll help open up your psychic, your third eye, psychic energy. And it is great for, this is why I love it, courage. Courage. It helps you walk into the door. You can add some to a dream pillow to help you sleep, but it also wards off melancholy, can make you happy. When I combined thyme and juniper together and I breathe in that aroma for an incense, it helps me heal. And it wards off negative energy, and it's damn good. And all you can use it in the savory, and you can use it in the sweet. I got to, when I was doing a little peeking and looking on thyme, I found a recipe for lemon thyme cake and a pound cake, and I'm going to get it. So whoever wrote that recipe, I want to give credit to them. It looks amazing. Good. It looks amazing, and I would like to use it as something as an offering. A little for me, a little for the gods. It'll be great.
Now, Coby, I know you have focused quite a bit of energy on the poison path, but I'm sure that you also have quite the prowess with the edible herbs. Do you do a lot with magic where you're cooking up stuff? Leanne does. Leanne does a lot with that. Do you cook up a lot of stuff, or are you more burning it and carrying it and doing other things with the herbs?
I'm not so much a kitchen witch. I don't do that much cooking. So for me, cooking up things is like, infusing oils or burning ointments and things on the stove. I do a lot of incense, different smoke bundles, things like that. But I don't incorporate herbs into food a whole lot, but I also don't cook my own food very often.
What are some of the smoke bundles that you first of all, do you have a shop where you have like these smoke bundles that you do?
I have an online shop where I sell a lot of my poison plant formulas, flying ointments, ritual jewelry, things like that. But the smoke bundles that I do use usually come as like gifts from other people, or just things that I pick up kind of on my travels. Juniper, mugwort. I've got a pine bundle with some roses and yarrow in it hanging over behind me.
Beautiful.
Just kind of whatever comes in the door.
I love to remind everybody that the idea of sacred smoke, it doesn't have to just be sage. Everybody's got these ideas that like it's all about the sage, everything is sage, sage, sage. It's like there's many, many different, herbs that you can do these bundles for that can be used ritually for many different purposes, not only for cleansing or blessing, but also for other things as well. So I like to remind that I've actually made them with my coven in the past. I have made magical, burnt like sacred smoke bundles for burning for different purposes. And we would all bring herbs. We'd all harvest herbs or go out and get herbs or what have you. You need them. Obviously, you need them. It can't be that little chopped up stuff that you get at a lot of the local shops. You need something that you can wind thread around. But we've made them together, and it's a fun activity in the good weather. Around here, there's quite a bit of wild harvesting that can be done. When you were in Salem, did you do like a wild harvest at all? Did you walk around and see what was naturally available here, or?
I did a little bit of an herb walk tour kind of with my friend Chris, just sort of around like the downtown area and some of the houses that have really cool gardens. But like I'm always kind of clocking what plants pop up, not only as ornamentals, but also sort of like the little surprise sidewalk plants.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, there's actually a few people that go out and do those kinds of things around here, and I love that idea. I think it's great to see what's naturally here and work with the spirit of place here, you know, stuff like that. It's great.
Yeah, and I'm really connected kind of to the flora of the north, you know, so places that experience cold weather. So that has like a really near and dear place to my heart, just because I'm originally from Indiana, from the north. So a lot of my, you know, most familiar plant allies are cold hardy.
Right? I love that.
So you work a lot with plant allies. A lot of people don't know what that is, or even what I had somebody pick up the book once and they were saying to me, so a poison path, what is that? What is that? Describe to it. To our
Oh gosh. Okay, so plant allies kind of comes from the animistic idea of everything having a spirit. So in the same way that we feel connected to certain animal allies as totems or familiar spirits, like the wolf. Boop.
Ah, you have one too.
Yep. Yep. You know, everybody kind of resonates to these different characters and characteristics that pop up in the natural world. And the same thing is true with plants. So they're not just ingredients, they're not just confined to their traditional magical correspondences, but they also have, you know, very vibrant and sort of changing personalities. So it's about kind of connecting to those on a regular basis in our magical work, and kind of following, you know, what kind of calls out to you, what you feel most attracted to, what makes you feel empowered and powerful. You know, sometimes we can't explain the reason that we're attracted to a specific plant spirit, but then through working with it regularly in our ritual practice or incorporating it into the food that we eat, if it's safe to do so, reading up about its history, mythology, folklore, we start to get all of these little like mental cues that kind of create these like epiphany moments of like, oh, aha, this like connects to something in my past or something that I'm currently working on. And that plant offers, you know, support through a lot of these different ways, whether it's medicinal properties, different associated deities that have kind of connected through various mythologies, and you can really go all sorts of different directions.
I mean, as a culture here, we do understand when certain plants or certain flowers are associated with certain places. Every state in the United States has like a state flower, you know what I mean? So you know, there is a sort of language of that these certain things are, you know, maybe associated, maybe those spirits are associated with that place. And we can also, through our lives, start to associate certain plants with certain people in our lives. For me, with my mom, it's actually pussy willows. And because it was the only thing that I could bring her that would not cause her allergies to kick up. She couldn't do flowers because she couldn't do regular, anything that spit pollen in a regular, you know, she couldn't do anything like that, but for some reason, she could do pussy willows. So I used to bring them to her and she would keep them like in a vase and everything, the big tall. And so just recently, on the anniversary, the 2-year anniversary of her death, I asked her for a sign. And I was down in Connecticut with my husband visiting our family down there. And we were staying at a certain hotel. And when we went to check out, he drove the car around and he parked the car and he went to go in. And there was a huge pussy willow bush right in front of me. And I went, oh my God, I can't even believe this. Like, it was not an hour after I had asked for a sign. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I really do think that the same way that someone might see a ladybug, see a dragonfly, see a cardinal, or something like that, that would trigger them to think of a certain person that has passed. I think that we can have that same relationship with plants as well, or trees, Gardens, a lot of people, if they had people in their lives that gardened and they planted certain things, for instance, my grandfather planted tomatoes and cucumbers. And so those always make me think of him. It's crazy because it's not really, but it's that association thing, so it's like, it's interesting. And I love that, we have certain things that grow here that might be very, very much identified with here. And so I'm trying to come up with what, like, if Salem had an official plant or an official flower or an official, herb, what would it be?
Gosh.
I can think of a lot that might psychically seem right, but I don't know that they necessarily grow here. You know what I mean? Like, somebody might say, oh, wolf's bane, or like something really like kind of witchy sounding, hemlock or whatever. I actually think there is a poison. I've had the berries. It grew up out of nowhere. Belladonna, the one with the purple flowers that look kind of like a pentacle, like it's very skinny petals. And it's
that one is bittersweet nightshade. So it's still in the nightshade family. Yeah.
Okay. That grows wild here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I had to pick a poison one that's Salem, I would pick that because that came out of absolutely nowhere growing on my property. And I was like, ooh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's very much sort of a liminal plant. It likes to grow on, boundaries, and
it grew up at my fence.
Yeah, supported by fences, trees.
There's this little crack in the firmament where the fence is put in that things can grow in. It's very slim.
Mm-hmm.
And it just came up and wound right around. I have a black iron fence at the front of the property, and it just whoop, and then and I was like, where did you come from? It came out of absolutely nowhere. So I'm voting for that. I also love the colors. I think the colors are very Salem too. So I'm voting for that.
Very witchy plant.
Do you work with that? Do you work with the nightshades often?
The nightshade family is kind of the main plant family that I specialize in. So everything from bittersweet nightshade, black nightshade, which are your more commonly growing nightshades, to deadly nightshade, datura, tobacco belongs in that family, angel's trumpet. So a really wide spectrum, all the way from like food products to, extremely poisonous and potentially psychoactive plants encompassed by that family. So it's kind of my favorite.
I see. Okay. So I guess it would get your vote as well then for Salem's official herb, or as it were. At least for the darker side.
Exactly.
That's cool. So how would somebody use these? Because I know that it's not very much of a beginner's sport. You know what I mean? With these, you got to be careful. But how could someone incorporate something like this effectively? Let's say somebody that was looking to banish some of the bad from before, as we're coming into this new year, and a lot of people are looking to make changes. How would we effectively, safely use something from that path?
A lot of them can be kind of employed in a lot of the same way that we use other herbs. So just thinking of like banishing work. So typically, like, the first thing that comes to mind is like smudging or burning or fumigating the area. So things like black nightshade, which is Solanum nigrum, bittersweet nightshade, Solanum dulcimara. Those could all be burned as an incense, relatively safely. They don't have a lot of the deadly toxic tropane alkaloids that we see in some of the other poisonous plants. Another awesome way that you could incorporate them for not only banishing and pushing energy out, but also really setting and strengthening the boundaries of the home, would be to incorporate some of the plant material into like a floor wash. So because they are poisonous plants or members of the nightshade family, they fall under the rulership of Saturn. So very much in the realm of protection magic, but having a particular affinity, with putting boundaries in place. And then that works, 2 ways.
Can we wash the door with that sort of thing too? Or
Yeah.
the door, or like the door jams. So we're like, you shall not pass.
Love that.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I used to do when I was a kid. Not necessarily with nightshades, but I would, like, when my mom wasn't home, I would do like cleansings on the house, and I'd go around and like wipe all of the trim, all of the doors, all of the windows, and just like every little perimeter that I could find, with this like water, salt, probably rosemary type of solution.
I love that.
My question is, well, I guess it's a statement. We shouldn't really be bathing in any of these deadly nightshades.
No, bathing is not the best idea. So the 2 solanums that I mentioned, the black nightshade and bittersweet nightshade, those are a little bit more innocuous. So putting some of that in your bath isn't going to hurt anything. A lot of them are actually used to treat different sort of inflamed like skin conditions. But you have to consider when you're taking a bath, especially if you're working with something like Datura or deadly nightshade or mandrake, small amounts would be relatively safe. But the fact that you're submerging your entire body into it and all of those different body parts. Yeah, some are more sensitive and more absorptive than others. So if you're like bathing in a tea of Datura, that could be, potentially problematic just because you're absorbing it from like every orifice.
From everywhere.
Yeah.
So
perhaps just using it the way that we might just sort of anoint ourselves in certain safe spots rather than bathing in it.
Yeah, yep. And I'm a big fan of ritual anointing oils. So they're going to be super safe when used topically. To me, they're very, very powerful plant allies, not only spiritually and magically, but also chemically. So they just have that extra little bit of oomph that, you might not notice right away with something like chamomile or lavender, that you can really work with on a daily basis. These kind of pack a pretty big punch like right away. And the same thing applies for their more esoteric properties.
So somebody in the comments mentioned that since we have so many dispensaries popping up, he thinks he has a suggestion of what the official herb should be.
Touche.
Nice.
I think that we do have some people who kind of incorporate that in the smoking into their magical practice. Do you partake in any of the inhalation of that or any other? Is there a safe? We've done some incense. How do I say that? I don't want to say huffing. It's like incense.
And healing.
Like working in the ritual circle with the inhalation. Are any of those kind of on the poison path safe to do that with?
Yes and no. So there's certain ones that like you definitely don't want to burn and inhale the smoke. So things like poison hemlock, wolfsbane, stuff like that. But looking at some of their traditional medicinal uses, plants like belladonna or deadly nightshade and datura, also known as thornapple, those have been used to treat asthma up until, like the 1900s, the 20th century, basically. So they'd have different inhalers that they would put which basically it almost looked like a porcelain bong that the plant material would go inside, and then they'd inhale it and it would open up all of the bronchioles and things like that. And then they also had cigarettes that contained belladonna and datura that people were meant to smoke to help with their asthma, but they stopped making them just because a lot of people would unintentionally get tropane alkaloid toxicity, which would cause like a little bit of delirium and hallucination weirdness. Yeah.
Oops.
I may have gotten some chocolate with some of those things in there.
Yeah.
But they,
Belladonna is in the bag.
it is. I see you, Zachary. Don't sit there posting your little devil things. I know what you've been doing.
Uh-oh.
Even cannabis, we could consider a member of the poison path because it does have those psychoactive properties that, are kind of like the thing that people seek poisonous plants for. But it's also got sort of that, dualistic thing about it where, it is medicinal, it is healing, it does help a lot of people, but then there's all of this sort of fear and propaganda and
Right.
regulation, legalization, and things like that. And there's a lot of like baggage when it comes to, using specific plants to prosecute and ostracize specific groups of people. And it's happened, various different ways over the century. So a lot of those kind of characteristics of, oh, that plant's dangerous, it's poisonous, it causes reefer madness, or makes you, see the devil, hear the devil, different things like that are all different, just kind of scare tactics that have been used over time because the plants have been misunderstood or have been seen as a threat to kind of the status quo.
And a lot of that was racist.
Yeah.
Just flat out racist.
Yeah.
Racist, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, anti-women.
Anti-everything. Anti-healing.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
they have been trying to demonize what came from this earth for centuries. The medical community, how else will they make money if they don't tell you that this stuff is going to make you crazy? A lot of people use cannabis for emotional well-being, for physical well-being, and for years we were told that it was bad.
Yeah. Yep. But they figured out a way
to make money.
Make money from it. So now it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Horrible.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So, what was I was going to ask you, I had another question for you. So for a beginner who is just starting out on their journey with these types of herbs that you specialize in, how would you say to approach, starting out with using these things towards towards their goals, let's say for themselves, to help them either, transform emotionally, physically, financially, the kinds of goals that people commonly make for themselves at the beginning of a new year. What would you say to people? How would you recommend that someone get started to use these things effectively? What would you suggest? You mentioned burning, but you have to choose wisely. What are some of the other ways that people could incorporate this path to help them along with their goals?
Oh, well, they're all about, healing and empowerment and boundaries and reclaiming one's power and personal agency. They do kind of have the dark side to them, but that's not, all that they are about. Because they are plants, they are spiritual beings, conscious beings, and it's all kind of about how they are directed and employed that makes it, malefic or benefic.
Right.
So I always tell people to, of course, approach them with respect, just like you would do any other conscious entity that you're meeting for the first time. And then also kind of don't be afraid. So I think that there is sort of a lot of fear perpetuated around working with plants like these, and some of it is prudent, some of it is well-meaning, and then a lot of it is just kind of unnecessary. So just kind of paying attention to what plants jump out at you on a regular basis, whether it's walking down the sidewalk to work or different things as you're reading. You'll notice repetitive patterns, whether it's a book about witchcraft, a book about herbalism, or even like a nonfiction sort of fantasy book. Like there's certain themes that sort of stick with you and pop up over time. And those things kind of all collect together and develop these very like special and intimate personal meanings. And those are sort of signposts that it's important for you to pay attention to that and delve a little bit deeper. So just kind of thinking of, if you have any sort of poisonous plant knowledge or awareness, what are the ones that jump out to you the most? For me, it was deadly nightshade, wolfsbane. Those were kind of my main two of interest and still are. And it's kind of delving into their history, folklore, medicinal uses. All of them do have medicinal properties and is largely based on how they're used, whether internally or topically, or what the dosage is, or their context of use. So that can kind of give you an idea for the level of toxicity that you're dealing with when it comes to being able to burn them or apply them to your skin, or even in some cases smoke them or ingest them. So it's like a very big spectrum of kind of unraveling this word poison that's been used to mean so many different things, whether it's a poisonous or corrupt person, or poisonous and dangerous energy, or poisonous plant. So with plants, does that mean, is it something that is going to be extremely irritating, like poison ivy? In which case, if you feel called to work with poison ivy, absolutely don't want to touch it. Absolutely don't want to burn it, because you'll get the same.
Oh my God, internally. Oh yeah, wow, that's so bad.
Even though it's not a plant that's going to kill you, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable.
Very unpleasant, yes.
In the hospital. And then you've got the other ones that do have the potential to, stop your heart or cause respiratory failure. But then those also have, on the other side of the coin, different medicinal properties. So whether it's traditional Chinese medicine or Western herbalism, excuse me, looking to, how have people in the past used these plants as medicinal, to kind of give you an idea for what are the sort of safe ways that they can be worked with, what formulas can they be made into. For example, like working with datura. Datura is known for being a very, very intense, hallucinogenic, psychoactive plant medicine, especially when it's ingested internally. However, we know that it's been used to treat asthma. So there's a precedent kind of in place that says, you can smoke datura and it's not going to cause immediate death, or you're not going to go crazy as if you were like eating leaves and seeds and things like that. So I've smoked datura in the past, and you can, and everybody has like a different tolerance level, different sensitivity level and things like that. But like you take a few hits off of like an herbal smoking blend that has datura in it, open you up, connect to that plant spirit. You're still within this safety zone of not causing yourself grievous bodily harm. So it's all kind of in unraveling that understanding of what poisonous actually means. Does it mean deadly? Does it mean uncomfortable? Does it just mean that it's going to get you high? And kind of going from there. So very much, about working with plants and fungi, but also kind of unraveling this more occult and esoteric idea of what poison is as, an energy and a concept and all that.
That is the next thing that I wanted to say. Mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have some friends and some acquaintances that swear by using these. Chris at one time mentioned to me that she accomplished 5 years of therapy in one afternoon, let's say,
I can see it.
with mushrooms.
I've used them.
And I have another friend as well that was healing from an incredible grief that had been 20 years in the making. And like, when I tell you, big transformation personality wise, once started incorporating this to heal those wounds, those grief wounds. What is your experience with this, and what's your opinion on that aspect of these plant allies?
I mean, I think anybody that has taken mushrooms, myself included, can sort of speak to the immense healing properties that they have. So not only, physically getting your body into a safe sort of space where you're able to sort of regurgitate all of this inner stuff that then needs to be worked through it. Mushrooms are so, because of the way that they grow, because of the way that they work with the natural environment, they are all transmitters of information. So they're transmitting information from the plants to the trees to other mushrooms, all through the mycelial network, which is sympathetic to our own nervous system. So it does the same thing for us, and it starts to light up all of these different parts of our brain and connect them in new and different ways that we're not typically working within our normal consciousness. And so you're able to get new insights and sort of have like this inner monologue conversation between different aspects of yourself, or different people in your life. Different spirits can come in, and it's just sort of like this massive transmission of information that happens. And it is very much like therapy. And a lot of it is, sort of talking yourself through these different things, so there can be really, really profound effects. And, then you think of like the benefits of just microdosing too. If you're not comfortable with taking a larger dose and having those more psychedelic experiences, you can work through essentially the same sort of mental, emotional trauma, past situations and things, just by microdosing on a regular basis.
Leanne, what was your experience?
My experience, I've had a couple, but I have found that I will have very light experiences where I feel like at first there's a lot of laughter and I'm hyper positive, and I feel like I'm getting the energy, like you really connect with the divine. And then there was another one where I felt I connect with the divine. I felt that it was big, but it was more darker. I was able to look at myself. It helped me get my ego in check. I was able to see parts of myself that I didn't want to look at. It really was an incredible service for shadow work. Okay. You can see inside of yourself that you don't like. So this is part of it. So I cried. It was very therapeutic. I felt that I connected with the dark goddesses. I felt a lot. It was a lot. But with that one, I was out on a beach. I was safely with other people.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very controlled experience. The other one, it was a controlled experience, but it was probably one of the most, it was very lighthearted. And I saw the beauty in everything. Everything was beautiful. And I could see life. And I remember going to a simple tree that I saw in my backyard. And now I call that tree like the birthing tree. You can see light coming in. Wow, and the light's coming in the window.
Yeah. Whoa, that was whoa. Uh-oh.
Lots of energy going on over there.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, poof. Oh.
Yeah, just like she was saying, with the tree in her backyard, through the mushroom spirits and through this connection that they facilitate, different symbolic things or physical things, ritual items that you have in ceremony that help with these really, groundbreaking kind of experiences. Those take on like a whole new meaning, and these now become familiar spirits or spiritual allies that you continue to work with after you've had that sort of initial connection through the mushrooms. So in the same way that they transmit information, the mushrooms have the ability to connect us to other deities, plant spirits, familiar spirits, and give us the ability to kind of continue that work sort of by setting up that like initial connection. Then it makes it easier to get back to that original place and connect to the different energies, the different spirits that are present. So it's even, you know, some people have these really profound, like life-changing experiences just doing, you know, mushrooms or LSD or, you know, fill in the blank one time, but they're able to carry all of those new sort of connections and neurological transformations that happen down the road through the future. So mushrooms are also like a really great way to connect to plant spirits that wouldn't normally be safe to ingest or safe to work with like on that level, because a lot of the poisonous plants, they do have a psychoactive effect to them. They can cause like visual, auditory hallucinations, but they're not always as comfortable. And they come with a lot of other uncomfortable side effects that aren't as much fun as mushrooms. So kind of bringing those other plant allies into the ritual environment or the ceremony space when you're consuming the mushrooms, you then are able to have a more of a dialogue with them through the mushrooms as an intermediary.
Gotcha. Now, my friend also has a tea, a mushroom tea.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever used tea, since we are called the psychic teas? Have you ever had a tea that you would use for this purpose? So I think, and I'm wondering how that might play out if you were doing a psychic reading where you were actually going to do a tea leaf reading, but you incorporated a little bit of the mushrooms into the tea mixture that you were using. I don't know how they would play out in the cup. I mean, I don't know how, if they would play nicely with the leaves. I'm hoping that that would just be, you know, I don't know how they look when you do a tea. Is it big pieces? Is it small pieces? How does it physically look when you do a tea of this type of thing?
So I think if you were able to kind of break them down into, so like everything's kind of the same size. So like the little mushroom pieces are about the same size as the tea leaves that you're working with. That would be more conducive to reading. You know,
I think that would make for an absolutely amazing tea leaf reading.
Oh yeah.
Off the charts tea leaf reading. Wow. That might be in my future in 2024. Who knows? But like, the wheels are turning. The wheels are turning, because I'm like, do I want, would that be a good first experience? Or would that be just like, whoa, too much? You know?
I mean, it all depends on how much you take. You could do like a half a gram or a quarter of a gram, or even just like a little microdose just to kind of open things up. I think it would be really cool to try it for yourself first. So like doing a tea leaf reading.
Oh yes. No, I mean for me, I would oh my God, I would never do that with a client. Whoa, like, oh no. Surprise. No. I would never. We were talking about doing like a microdose of mushrooms in tea, because my friend drinks a tea of the mushrooms, and I was like, can you imagine a tea leaf reading? Could you make it, you know, could you do a tea leaf reading that way? And he's like, for yourself, but not for, and I'm like, oh my God, not for a client. No.
Maybe I'll have a mushroom before I read the client.
I'm just saying, like, whoa, like tea with a side of mushroom. Yeah, no, I mean, like that would, I think that's a personal, what I love about tea leaf reading is
So bad.
it's the one way that nobody argues that you can't do it for yourself. Because there's all these people out there, you can't read tarot for yourself. You can't read your own palm. You can't read that, it's the one thing that nobody argues, like you can't do your own tea leaf reading, because of course you can. It's intended for you to, and ultimately it's intended for you to drink that tea and look in the cup and see what you see. So the idea is like, that would be if I were doing my own tea leaf reading for myself, not for a client. But like, that would be pretty wild if you did do that with a client. But I'm saying no. Not me
Anyone
personally.
interested?
So Zodiac's not going to be offering mushroom.
No, we're not going to be offering shroom teas. I'm a lot of fun. I crawl on the walls, crying, laughing. Oh yeah, it all comes out of you. It's a lot.
Okay, Andrew's bringing up a point that I'm not sure anyone here has the historical background to answer if this is true or false. But okay.
Yeah, it has been suggested that Amanita muscaria, the fly agaric mushroom, is the plant material that the berserkers would consume to get into this battle frenzy. And I've taken Amanita and can attest to that effect. So it is a very...
Does it just make you feel absolutely bulletproof?
Yeah, it for me, it alternated between like this intense anger coming up, but then it would balance itself out by this euphoric, like almost kind of sexual arousal feeling like in your body. So it's very much like really intense, masculine warrior type energy, very fiery, that would bubble up, and then you'd almost like kind of slump over, and then you'd be in like this very ecstatic, euphoric arousal sort of a state. So very like masculine, feminine, back and forth. But
not necessarily something you want on the battlefield.
Yeah, so maybe
slumping over person in the middle of the fight.
But the drinking the urine thing, that is a thing. So the alkaloids, the muscimol and ibotenic acid that's present in the Amanita muscaria does not get completely broken down as it's digested through the body. So there are a lot of cases where people would take the mushrooms and then drink the urine afterwards and still be able to get the effects.
Maybe that's how you filter out the slumping over.
I think there might be something to that. Yeah, get more ibotenic acid than muscimol or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know. What's the theory there? I don't know. Yeah, fascinating though. Fascinating. I love that. I have a really hard time taking anything, any kind of medicinal anything, or even any kind of, I have like a paranoia about any new drug, any new anything, especially where I feel like I might become out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if I were to try to do these mushrooms, it would be I would insist that it would have to be a microdose, like the smallest baby, old lady, grandma dose, because I would want to. That's one of the reasons why I've never been much for like drinking like to excess, or like doing anything to excess in those ways that you get out of control. I don't like to feel like I can't control my body. Like I can't make my own decisions. I can't, get up and walk out if I want to. I can't, you know what I mean? Like I don't, that actually puts me into my anxiety headspace, not my party, let's relax and have a good time headspace. Mm-hmm. So I think I would love to explore these benefits. I think they sound fascinating, but I'm also a little nervous about it. And I don't think I'm alone in that. So you recommend microdosing. I'm hearing Leanne saying she was with friends. She was in a controlled space. Mm-hmm. She felt safe. She was around people she trusted. And I guess the last thing is like the legality of this. Is this a legal thing right now, or is this in this area not legal right now?
I think there's only a couple places in the U.S. where it is technically legal.
Okay.
And even for, medicinal. But that brings up a good point. And someone mentioned too that the mushrooms in coffee and tea are usually different than the ones that you microdose. So kind of distinguishing between like psychedelic mushrooms versus like they have a lot of coffee substitutes, mushroom coffees that are actually really good and taste a lot like coffee.
Right.
So consider like adaptogenic mushrooms like reishi, lion's mane, turkey tail. All of those have a lot of those same kind of transmitting sort of effects. So lion's mane is one of my very favorite ones to work with. It helps with energy, focus, mood balancing, mood elevation. And you can really get like a noticeable effect just from taking those, like putting some in your coffee, or I'll just eat like a handful of the mushroom powder. But I would think that working with even the adaptogenic mushrooms in that way, you're still going to get sort of that mushroom magic, that characteristic ability that they all have, without having to worry about like, oh, do I microdose, or am I going to be able to function for the rest of the day, or is this legal? So there are a lot of other options in the fungi kingdom.
Just to respond to Jeff directly, yes, my friend is doing the ones that are actually
magic.
The super magical ones in a tea, not like the lion's mane and the stuff that you're, or reishi or whatever. No, he actually has a tea that would be the kind that we're talking about. But I know those other kinds exist, definitely. And I have made friends with many, many mushrooms over the course of my life. In other words, when I was a little kid, you could not have gotten me to eat. You could have offered me $10,000. I probably wouldn't have eaten a mushroom. But nowadays, I love so many different kinds of edible, regular, go to the grocery store, get the mushrooms. I love them now. So, and I even worked them into a recipe once, and my husband said, "Wow, what's the other meat in this?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "The other meat, not the scallops, but the other meat." And I go, and he's like, "Is it mushrooms?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Mushrooms are a wonderful meat replacement.
And then he's eating them and he's like, "This is great. Oh my God. What's the other meat in this?" And I'm like, because he's famous for telling me he hates something and then eating it and liking it. So, but yeah, it's because he'll be like, "I hate mayonnaise." And then I'll make a sauce that has to have mayo in the component. And I'm whipping up this, whatever it is, this whatever kind of sauce it is that contains mayo. And then I'm like, "What do you think of this?" And he's like, "Oh, I love it." And I'm like, "Okay." I just never tell him, I'm just like, "Okay, yeah, no, does that have mayo in it?" No.
Oh,
No, absolutely not. Nope, no mayo here. But yeah, too funny. But no, it's not an allergy or anything. I would never do that to somebody with an allergy. He just thinks he doesn't like it until he eats it. Then he likes it. So it's like, well, but yeah, I think it's like a mental block about things, maybe just like an idea that you have in your head that you know what I mean?
Listen, Tim made a lasagna last week instead of using meat because he's a vegetarian. He used mushrooms, and I couldn't tell the difference. But I adore mushrooms. You have to understand.
Right.
My father used to go out in the woods and go pick mushroom picking, but he picked the wrong type of mushroom ones.
Yes,
that could be a whole show if you're picking stuff. If you're wild,
oh my God, you have to be super careful.
Don't just shove that in your mouth.
No,
are you going to be surprised?
No, I met a woman. It killed her liver. It killed half her liver. She picked what she thought was this one kind of mushroom, and it was this other kind, and it destroyed half of her liver.
Horrible.
Like she nearly died. It's really, you got to be super careful, guys, if you're out there foraging. I love the whole foraging thing, but if you're going to eat stuff that oh my God, please double and triple check that you have the right thing. like double and triple check, get a second opinion, contact, phone a friend, like all of it. Like just, oh my God, please be careful out there if you're far.
On your phone now.
Yeah, you can scan it and it'll show you and stuff. Yeah, this was back in the day before we didn't have smartphones. Back when this happened, no one had smartphones weren't invented yet, you know. So nowadays, I think it's a lot easier for people to identify things. You know, people can identify crystals, they can identify plants, they can identify. There's all kinds of apps to identify things now, which is great. But back in the day, you used to have to run to the library to do that shit, and nobody was doing that while they were out foraging. So, I'll be right back. I got to run and look up in Encyclopedia Britannica what the picture is for this. No, you know. So yeah. So anyway, but you know what? Thank you so much, Coby, because I think that this was super informative. I would love to think that we've helped a lot of people. You know, and maybe we'll help a lot of people explore some interesting things in 2024, some alternative methods of all kinds of stuff. But I think plant allies are just as important as crystal allies. And of course, there's some crossover, which I was talking about earlier. And I love that there are a lot of books coming out right now that are linking all these things together, that are linking, you know, plants and crystals and things with the imagery of the tarot, or they're linking it with, you know, with each other and stuff. And I think that's fantastic because all these things are, you know, we have them all on that table of correspondences for a reason. So the books you have out, you have the Poisoner's Path, the Poison
Path Herbal.
Poison Path Herbal. Thank you. Yes, Poison Path Herbal. And where what did I do with ours?
You literally.
And of course, I got to recommend Awakening the Crystals, right, as the companion. So, yes. So
Thank you so much.
And I'm looking forward to you being at Pentagram. I think that's going to be a fun night. When is that?
It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be over the summer. And I don't have the date down written right now, but I am going to be posting it soon.
Okay.
Because Coby's coming up. And our dad, I don't know. You're coming up, right? Yep, you're coming up, and we're gonna have a blast. Looking forward to it. So thank you.
Yeah, can't wait. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, thank you. And everyone, when's your new book coming out?
The new book will be out in fall, winter of 2024.
Well,
this year.
Yeah, this
year.
Good.
What's this one called?
The next one is called The Poison Path Grimoire.
Okay. And is it on pre-order yet?
I don't think it's up for pre-order yet. Okay. Just kind of starting the editing process and got the little cover mock-up sent over. So it looks really cute.
Cool.
And purple and green to go with the yellow and orange.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I can't wait. I
love it.
Very witchy.
Awesome.
It's a fantastic book.
Awesome.
We've sold out of it. I can't tell you how many times in October. We've got the Poison Path back in stock, but it's going fast. So if anybody's interested in a copy, go grab it now before it goes.
Yay. And you can get it signed when you come and see Coby at Pentagram.
Absolutely.
You can get it signed.
Yeah. Be there in June.
Be there in June, yes.
I love it. Looking forward to June right now, boy. Woo.
Yeah. Woo.
We're in the middle of January, so definitely got our eyes on the summer, but that'll be fantastic. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know we went long today, but I think it was absolutely totally worth it. So thanks everybody. Thank you, Coby, for joining us for an extremely excellent journey that just went in a million directions, and I love that. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Well, who am I to keep you down?